Hello, everyone. I am super excited to be talking to you today about an amazing topic that I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and they asked me about my own adrenal problem. They asked me, "Hey, didn't you have a problem with exhaustion and fatigue, and weren't you burnt out and had difficulty with anxiety and crashing in the middle of the day?" And those weren't the questions they were asking me. They just asked me if I had an adrenal problem, and those are the things that you would know if you did. So things like just not being able to handle your stressors the same way that you used to, or crashing in the middle of the day, or not being able to focus and concentrate, or just dealing with stress. It overwhelms you. You're in that sympathetic fight or flight all the time. You're not able to turn your mind off. There's a hormone impact in terms of libido and mood and drive and motivation. And there's also just an overall exhausted feeling to it. So today I wanted to discuss with you guys the three biggest mistakes that I see when it comes to an unsuccessful adrenal fatigue recovery program. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am the Adrenal Fatigue Recovery Ninja, and I'm excited to be talking to you guys about this today because it's going to be a little different than what you're used to. Typically, I see people that all around the world that suffer with fatigue and exhaustion and burnout, and it's a real epidemic because more and more we spread ourselves thinner and thinner. We have so many to-do lists to accomplish. We don't have enough time in the day, and we become super focused on more, do. And we don't really take the time to slow down. We carry our cell phones everywhere we go. The great ability to be global and to be on the move is a double-edged sword, because at the same time as being accessible 24/7 and being able to do your work anywhere and anywhere, the problem is you're doing it all the time. And a lot of times people are just keeping their cell phones by their head when they're sleeping at night, and that's pinging off cell towers all the time. And that's an example, an epitome of the most stimulated state we could possibly be, is a 24-hour thing. And metaphorically, if we're not there, we're there sort almost even physically, right? So what I wanted to do was talk to you a little bit differently about what mistakes that I see, that people aren't getting this fixed, aren't solving this problem. And the first number one thing that I'm going to say is, number one, the biggest mistake that I see when it comes to an unsuccessful adrenal fatigue recovery program is looking at your adrenals only. And I'm going to preface that because in a lot of cases, when you go to see your primary doctor, or you go to the endo, or you go to the specialist, and you tell them, yeah, I don't think I deal with stress very well. I'm overwhelmed. I have this thing called adrenal fatigue. They look at you like you're crazy. Oh, like here's another person that read, an internet diagnosis of a problem that doesn't exist, and they're going to be a squeaky wheel. They're going to be a difficult client, and I just, in a lot of ways, just want to get them out of the office as soon as possible. That happens a lot because they say there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. But this is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in one of the biggest problems that I see with people that don't get better from an adrenal fatigue problem is they only focus on the adrenals. So they, for example, they go to their naturopath and they only do a saliva test or a blood test. And the saliva test said, well, you're stage 3, you're exhausted, you're burnt out, and we need to get your cortisol levels higher. Or you're a stage 1, you have a lot of cortisol, we need to get your cortisol lower. And in today's day and age, I found that that doesn't work anymore, because there's just so many other things going on than just the adrenals. If you have chronic stress and inflammation and to-dos and physical injuries and chemical exposures and traumas and pathogens and heavy metals and infections, then it's going to wipe out your immune system. The adrenals play hand in hand with your adrenal system. It's going to impact your GI health. your adrenals support your GI health. It's going to impact detoxification centers, energy production centers, neurological centers. It's going to impact a lot of cells not functioning at the highest level. And when you only focus in on the adrenals, you miss a big part of the picture. And a lot of people will do a saliva test, which is good. Don't get me wrong, it's a good thing. But in my opinion, it's incomplete, because you're only looking at 1% of the total hormone when there's 99% of the hormone you're not looking at. Now, you're looking at it in circadian rhythm, which is great because you can get some feedback on that, but you're not looking at total metabolites. Potentially, you're not looking at aromatization or other signs of inflammation or detoxification issues. You're just looking at the free fraction of the hormone and trying to make sense with that. So that would be the first mistake that I would say, is that you're only looking at the adrenals. You need to look at it deeper. You need to look at the whole picture. You need to look at the person's symptoms, how it's showing up in their life, what's not working, what is working, what tests have you already done, what do those tests tell us, what other tests can we do. We like to look at the Dutch test, we like to look at the organic acid test, but that leads me into the next problem, the next biggest mistake that I see when it comes to an unsuccessful adrenal fatigue recovery problem, and that's not looking at the nutrigenomic background. So what does that mean? It means we're not doing a proper DNA test that looks at your genetics and combines that with your nutritional susceptibilities, and then we don't get a clear picture. So what that means is we do, like, say, an ancestry test, and we see we have MTHFR, but doctors don't know how to interpret that properly, and they'll just say, okay, take methylfolate. I just had someone in the office today who has a son who's dealing with anxiety and focus and concentration problems, who has very little patience, who's glued to his cell phone, and whenever you try to talk to him, you're being annoying because the conversation's going too slow, and he's already on to something else because it took too long to get the point out, and the son is aggravated and frustrated and irritable. And you know people like this if it's not yourself. And then he said, well, I have MTHFR. What does that mean? And it means that you're not converting folic into folate. You're missing out on a major nutrient that's important for producing energy, dealing with stress, making your neurotransmitters, being focused and concentrated, being able to detoxify. Those are the things that you need to be able to happen. But there's so many other things that are going on as well, like how well do you clear out free radicals? How well do you produce antioxidants? How well do you regenerate your tissues? How well do you use energy for fuel? If those things aren't happening, and you're just looking at a saliva test that tells you have high cortisol or low cortisol, it doesn't tell you why or how or where or when or what. It just tells you, if it's high or low. It's not going to be complete enough. So you have to do a nutrigenomic test as well. The last thing that I see, the biggest mistake that I see when it comes to an unsuccessful adrenal fatigue recovery program, is not learning on how to become metabolically flexible. That's a big one. And so what does that mean? It means depending on your stressors, lots of work, a little bit of work, a lot of food, a little bit of food, depending on your life, you have to be able to extract nutrients from your food and be able to get it into the gas tank to be used as energy, and not just energy to climb a mountain, but energy to do your daily tasks. That means repair your tissues, eliminate, regenerate, being able to make ATP and use oxygen, and being able to digest your food, and being able to think clearly, and being able to make synapses, and all of the things that we need to be able to do require energy. And fundamentally, if you're not extracting that raw material from the food because you're not a good protein burner, or you're not a good fat burner, or you're not a good carb burner, or you have high oxalates, or you have high histamines, or you're reacting to certain foods, then you are not metabolically flexible. You're not shooting fish in a barrel. Excuse my bad analogy for fish lovers. But ultimately, you need to stack the cards in your favors, and that comes with the other things, like looking deeper than the adrenals, looking more than just a saliva test, doing a nutrigenomic test and seeing, what's your susceptibilities? Are you good at burning protein and carbs? Are you good at utilizing fats? Are you good at breaking down certain foods? If you are, then let's customize it towards that and let's remove it from the other things. So that's really, really important too. So those are the three big things that I see that are not happening when I get on the call with you guys and I hear about what's going on and what's not working. Number one is you're only looking at the adrenals. You're not going deeper than the adrenals, even though you want to focus on the adrenals, and it's pretty and it's nice to say, hey, I have major adrenal problems. That's the big thing, but goes deeper than that. Number two is you're not doing the proper nutrigenomic evaluation, let alone testing to understand how that's related to your stress response and energy production in your body. And then number three, you're not learning how to become metabolically flexible, meaning using the fuels that are more customized to your genetic susceptibilities to be able to get more energy. And that may mean intermittent fasting, or that may mean going on a paleo diet, or maybe being more plant-based, or maybe being higher in the fats. But suffice it to say, there are certain types of dietary suggestions that work better for people than other people. And you have to put all those puzzle pieces together. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. What I do is I work with people all around the world because it is very complicated in terms of how to interpret a genetic test. You can't do it on your own. It's taken me a lot of years to figure this out. And I know you guys are spending a lot of time on the internet, and I know that you only have a certain amount of energy that you can invest, and you have to decide, okay, am I gonna clean the dishes, or am I gonna tidy up the room? But you don't have a lot of disposable energy income, so to speak, to go out with your friends, or to engage in life, or take the kids to a place, or to go out socially, or to travel. And on top of that, you're researching your genetics on your own. I mean, we want to take that responsibility away from you. So I work with people that understand that there's a genetic component to all of this, and are frustrated because they're not getting the insight and answers that they want from their doctors. Their doctors are telling them there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. The genetics aren't important. MTHFR, you just take folate, and it goes deeper than that. It's not just about the adrenals, but you're looking for someone to help you put the puzzle pieces together, because ultimately you can't go on another day suffering and not enjoying your life. So that's who we're looking for. We do a no-charge 45-minute consultation to get to the truth of what's not working. Where are you with your health? Where do you want to be with your health? And why aren't you getting there? And then we tell you exactly what you need to do to get there. So I'll put a link to that. But if you want to know right away, it's thetruthaboutadrenalfatigue.com/apply. Again, thetruthaboutadrenalfatigue.com/apply. But the only thing I ask about you is you're serious, you're dedicated, you're coachable, you're resourceful, and you want to get this fixed, because it's just unacceptable to not be engaging in your life. And you're making those mistakes. You know that I am only focusing on the adrenals. No one's looked at my genetic. I'm not even metabolically flexible. I never even heard of that word and don't know how to even do anything about that. Those are the people I'm looking for. So anyways, I hope you got a lot of value out of today. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am the Adrenal Fatigue Recovery Ninja, and I look forward to ending your adrenal fatigue nightmare. Have an awesome day.